Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Yes, I got myself a new mic, do not go crazy about it. So today we got to talk about the Overwatch League. So week 4 just finished and there's been a lot of upsets going on throughout this week, and obviously the Kickoff Clash tournament bracket has been released and we'll have a look at that as well. So let's have a look at the matches for week 4. And here they are. It's quite a lot, so we'll just go from wherever it cuts off. So here. So at the top, Seoul Dynasty versus the Philadelphia Fusion. It was a 3-0 victory for the Seoul Dynasty against the Philly Fusion. This was, I guess, the bit of sign of the Fusion cracking a bit under pressure. Obviously coming into this match, the Fusion were undefeated. Basically, they were extremely undefeated. So, coming into this match, they were obviously they were highly up there as like one of the best teams and a contender of also winning, of winning this match. But the Dynasty have also looked really inconsistent as well in the past week. Now they have looked really good now in this match. Obviously, Smurf got MVP, Lee Chong-Tao won 2-1, Dorado won 3-2, and Midtown won 1-0. Hangzhou Spark versus the Chengdu Hunters, and the Chengdu Hunters are slowly declining, and I'll get to why they're probably... Are they the worst team in the Overwatch League? No, but we'll get to that part very soon. So they did lose to the Hangzhou Spark. It was the 3-1, so it wasn't actually that bad. So I had to turn down my mic. Jesus Christ, it's so loud. I just realized that. But the Hangzhou Spark, they have... they look pretty decent. They have definitely surprised me. I'll be honest. I thought they were going. I really thought they weren't going to do well because of just the mediocre players that they had. Well, some mediocre players. I didn't know how Alpha E was going to go, but he has popped off with Shy as the DPS duo. That's definitely an underrated DPS duo right there. But Hangzhou Spark to get the win against the Chengdu Hunters. They do not look the same. Probably also because they have one coach and they still haven't done anything about it, which is stupid. I don't know why they haven't done anything about it, but it is what it is, I guess. And for the final one, this was incredibly close. It was the Shanghai Dragons versus the Guangzhou Charge. And this was a reverse sweep. The Charge almost won this match. Very, very close. But they go reverse swept by the Shanghai Dragons, and that kind of shows how great the Shanghai Dragons is, but it also shows how much they struggled. I've never seen a championship team, oh, actually, I guess in comparison maybe the Spitfire or even the Shock as well. But I mean, I haven't seen the Dragons struggle this much since season 1. Never. Yeah, just like I said, they almost lost to the Guangzhou Charge. I think they almost lost to the Valiant as well. If I remember correctly, I think they almost did. Yeah, they almost lost to the Valiant as well. 2 Mat 5s in a row. It's crazy. That's mind-boggling. But Fade did get MVP, and it was a reverse sweep at the very end. So at least Dragons did get a win. For the next one, Chengdu Hunters versus the Philadelphia Fusion. It was a 3-1 victory for the Hunters. I see what I mean by been inconsistent. I mean, the Hunters, they looked really good here on this match, but over time they've just slowly declined. The Fusion have also looked really inconsistent. They lost, I think, most of their matches on this. I think they lost. I think they only won one match, which was against the Valiant, but even that one was actually pretty close. This one was really close as well, but the Hunters did squeeze out the win. And the Seoul Dynasty versus the Guangzhou Charge, just a smashing defeat for the Seoul Dynasty. I also forgot to mention MVP was Jinmu for Fusion and Hunters. This one was the MVP to Creative. But is this his first ever MVP? I actually can't remember. I think Creative has definitely showed up in this season. He's done a really good job. I think him and Vindime as the support duo, I think that's actually, that looks really solid. That looks like a support duo to build up on into the future. But it was, I mean, it did look pretty close. I mean, Oasis, Sakura Royale, Kings all of them were pretty close, but at the same time, it was a 3-0 victory for the Seoul Dynasty. Dragons, what are you guys doing? he almost lost to the Valiant, who, I mean, I do give them credit. They look really, really good. I'll be honest, I was watching this match, and I stayed up to watch this match because I was actually hoping that the Valiant will win. Because it would have been amazing to see the storybook, but basically the story like flipping over itself, that the Valiant has Dia, who's a former Shanghai Dragons player, who obviously who was part of the 040 Shanghai Dragons Season 1, winning against now the Shanghai Dragons, who is the best team in the Overwatch League. It would have been an amazing ending, an amazing storybook ending for Dia, but that didn't come to fruition. He did obviously get his window, which is great. We'll get to that very, very soon. But I don't know what the hell the Dragons have been doing. They have looked really inconsistent during this whole week. I mean, they were really close to losing against the Charge and their Valiant, the two weakest teams, and they were really good against Dynasty. I don't know what the hell's happening to this team, but I guess it is what it is, I guess. They did complete New Queen Street. I think that might be the first time ever that a team has completed a push map. I might be wrong. And MVP was Fleta. Let's now move on to the West region. So we got the LA Gladiators versus the London Spitfire. And it was the LA Gladiators winning this. I mean, Spitfire, they have actually, I'll be honest, the Spitfire are definitely the most surprising team during this season. I think they have largely surpassed my expectations of them. They've obviously won matches. They've won games. They've made it really, really competitive. Like to make games actually really competitive and not just like just a sleeper, just a sleeper match mainly where they just get absolutely 3-0'd and destroyed. This time they've actually, they're putting up a notch. But so Spitfire did win the first map on New Queen Street, but the Gladiators did run it back and won it at the very end. Kevser was MVP. NYXL versus the Toronto Defiant. This is obviously, I mean, it's only 1 meter comparing in Colosseo between NYXL and Toronto, only by 1 meter, where the Defiant won. Watchman Gibraltar, Midtown Elias with the other maps. Hopper was MVP. I mean, Hopper was also formerly from the NYXL, and he was iffy there, I'll be honest, but I feel like he looks a bit better now on the Defiant than he was on the NYXL. Finally, the SF Shock versus the Vancouver Titans. I'm not really surprised that the Shock won this. I mean, Proper has been an absolutely nutcase. Training Force also commentating, which was also really nice. But Proper is an absolute, he's a crazy lad. He's a mad lad, I must say. He's definitely a contender Rookie of the Year, and I think he might be my pick for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. But yeah, the Titans, they just haven't gelled. They just don't look right, I'll be honest. They really don't. So that's something they probably need to work on. I'll be really surprised if the Titans actually win a map who is not against the Paris Eternal. I'll be really surprised about that. But 3-1 victory for the Shark, and Proper was MVP. Let's now move on to the East once again. Hangzhou Spark versus Guangzhou Charge. I'm going to move over a bit quickly this time. Alfie was MVP. I mean, the Charge, just like I said, they looked horrible now in this season, so I'm not surprised there. Shanghai Dragons versus the Chengdu Hunters. It was MVP for Lip, and just like the Charge, the Hunters, they just don't look. They just don't look good. They look completely different now with some of the players leaving. Who left? It was like Far Away 1987. I think that was like the biggest one. I think Yowzi, if I remember correctly, I think he left. It was a Creed, one of those ones. I can't remember. Evotol left. I can't remember. There were two other ones. We're gonna have a quick look, but yeah. So Aprita was one of them. Far Away 1987, Evotol, and Yowzi. So it's a Creed. No, it was Creed. Sorry. So Creed was the other member who left the Hunters, and that definitely has destroyed them because they do not look right. Probably because as well they only have one coach, which is Yowzi, which is probably a bit of an issue there. But the Dragons did win against the Hunters at the very end. 3-1 for the Philadelphia Fusion against the LA Valiant. M3 was MVP. Just like I said, the Valiant, they looked a lot better now. I think now some of their matches are really entertaining to watch, and I mean, it's great to see them actually being really competitive. For the West, I'm gonna scroll down a bit. There we go. This is where a little bit of mayhem comes in at the very end of this. Two of them is this one. The London Spitfire win against the Atlanta Rain. Now, I didn't see this coming. And this is what I mean about the London Spitfire have my expectations. They have surpassed my expectations, I should say. They actually are a midfield team. They're actually midfield, which is surprising to me because I thought they were going to do horribly compared to everyone else in the West region. I thought there was going to be no shot. I think the other teams they could maybe go up against the Mayhem, Eternal, and the Titans. I was right with the Eternal and Titans. I wasn't expecting the Atlanta Rain to go this badly. I mean, the Rain they lost their next 2 games, the Spitfire and the Gladiators as well. They don't look right. They really don't. I think Gator and Hardy, I think they had like a little bit of a Reinhardt duel as well, which was pretty good. But the Spitfire are just a lot better team now. I mean, they look structurally better as well. Hardy has fucking showed up now in this game. Finally, they have showed up. Well, he has showed up now, which is actually pretty nice to see. I mean, it's good to see teams that they haven't gotten a lot of success over the years. I mean, the Spitfire, they were the first ever champions, but at the same time, they, in like the past 2 seasons, or 3 seasons even, they haven't been looking too good. So it's actually good to see the Spitfire now actually looking pretty decently. But Atlanta Rain, they need to do some fixing up there. Another one I kind of want to talk about is this one. I don't know how the hell the Paris Eternal actually made this really competitive, but they somehow have against the Houston Outlaws. MVP was Pelican. It was also a reverse sweep as well. And, I mean, the Outlaws, they've also really consistent sometimes. I mean, they were really good on the opening match against the Dallas Fuel, but that's probably because it was the Fuel and they obviously wanted to beat the Fuel because it was about the Texas and everything. Makes sense. But I mean, at least, you know, keep it up. Maybe the Eternal have made some massive improvements over the week, and I generally do hope that they probably get like maybe another coach or maybe another player. I think that would be great, because I feel like, just like I keep saying, 2 Korean coaches does not work well in a West region, or in a fully Western roster. Even though Glisser is the only non-Western player, still does not matter. He is being, I mean, they need a Western coaches. Get a Maze back in. Just get him back in. I mean, he deserves it. I don't know why they kicked him out, but he definitely deserves it. Next one, the Washington Justice versus the Florida Mayhem. I mean, the Justice, oh my god. I don't understand the Justice half the time as well. They just looked really weird. They looked really inconsistent as well. The Mayhem obviously bringing it back. Sir Majid was MVP. I think Sir Majid, he's had a really good rookie season. He's definitely surprised some people. He's turned some people's heads around, and more people are now on eyes on him. So I think that's a great sign for him, and maybe he might be going to another team. We just have to wait and see there. For the East, we got the Shanghai Dragons versus the Seoul Dynasty. It was actually, I think this was the most hyped matchup, I think, because obviously it was against the 2 giants of the East regions, Dynasty versus the Dragons. The Dragons won. The Dynasty were, I guess, the only team who could actually compete against them, but now it's all for nothing. Like, it's just all craziness there in that region. But Who Are You did get MVP, and it was only separated by 1 meter at Colosio to finish off the map, and it was a big difference. I mean, it could have gone to map 5 as well, but the Dragons did prevail and did get the win. Everyone, yes, go crazy, go stupid. It has happened. The LA Valiant has won. I think what was like last time? I think like 634 days. I think the last time they won a match, which was back in 2020. That was 2 seasons ago that they won, and I was so happy. You don't understand how happy I was when I found out now that the Valiant won. I am ecstatic. Dia, understandably and deserving, did get MVP. I am so happy that they got that they finally got a win. Fortunately, it was up against the Guangzhou Hunters, who looked a lot weaker now this season, like I've been always saying. But either way, it does not matter. A win is a win. The LA Valiant have finally done it. I'm so happy. I am actually, it tickles me in places where I've never been tickled before. I'm so happy. I'm just really happy. That's all, that the Valiant have finally really won in the Overwatch League. I mean, this is a lot better roster than the previous season, so I'm not that surprised there. But I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy that they finally won. And this one, next up, just to end off the East. It was a very close game against the Philadelphia Fusion and the Hangzhou Spark, but it was a Hangzhou Spark winning it. I mean, Route 66 was very close, 5-6, a very long map there. Can't see who actually got MVP, and it was Alpha Yi. Alpha Yi got MVP on the final map, on the final match of the East region for the kickoff clash. I mean, makes sense. Alpha Yi has been crazy. I think he's definitely a Dark Horse contender Rookie of the Year. We just have to wait and see though. But yeah, the Fusion, they do not look well. They do not look good at all now. They were having a great run, and then they just fell off. I mean, it's the Fusion experience against for Fusion fans. It is called the Philadelphia Fusion experience. So not that surprised there. The final two matches to end off the kickoff clash is from the West. We got a 3-0 victory for the Dallas Fuel against the Boston Uprising. No surprises there. The Fuel have looked a lot better now at the end part of the kickoff clash, and it was very easy win as well for the LA Gladiators, who got MVP. Cavs also got MVP. I forgot to mention that the Dallas Fuel and Boston Uprising match, that was Chaya who got MVP. The Gladiators gets a very easy win against the Atlanta Reign. MVP was Kevster. So let's now have a look at the teams who will be in the kickoff clash, and here it is. So the top 8 for the West region, we got the SF Shock, who were undefeated, the Dallas Fuel, LA Gladiators, Florida Mayhem, Houston Outlaws, Toronto Defiant, Atlanta Reign, and the Washington Justice. Eliminated from the kickoff clash is the London Spitfire, Boston Uprising, NYXL, Paris Eternal, and Vancouver Titans right now. The tail half. The Eternal and the Titans actually both got the same map differential, minus 14. And I think if you would have Spitfire, I think you would have been hoping that the Justice, I think maybe lost two more maps. So basically, I would have hoped for them to go into a map 3, I think it is. Am I right? Or maybe also they should have also got to a 3-1 as well, a 3-1 or even a 3-0 victory against the Atlanta Reign to punch their ticket into the kickoff clash, but they didn't. It was unlucky there. As for the East, it got the top 4. The Hangzhou Spark and the Shanghai Dragons 5-1, the Seoul Dynasty 4-2, and the Philadelphia Fusion 3-3. They were very close to being eliminated, but they didn't get eliminated, which is a good sign. Eliminated though, it is the Guangzhou Hunters, LA Valiant, and the Guangzhou Charge. But either way, the Valiant got a win, so yippee for that. It does not matter who else wins. All that matters is that the Los Angeles Valiant have finally won an Overwatch League match after 634 days, I think it was. I might be wrong with that, but whatever. Let's now move on to the tournament and for the kickoff clash. And just a reminder, so these are the teams. So obviously this is the top 8, so that's for the West region, and this is for the East region. And also the West region, they will be at Dallas, so it'll be in East Sports Stadium at Arlington. That'll be only for the West region. I think the East region will be played online, if I remember correctly, but the West region will play on land, which is great. And also, I realized as well that everyone will have at least 1 league point to start off the kickoff clash. So either way, if you finish 8th in the West region, you'll still get 1 league point, which is very precious either way. It's still incredibly precious. Those precious league points that all these teams need to get into the playoffs. Here is the bracket for the West. So we got the San Francisco Shock against the Washington Justice, the Florida Mayhem versus the Atlanta Reign, the Dallas Fuel versus the Toronto Defiant, and the LA Gladiators versus the Houston Outlaws. And then finally, for the East, we got the Hangzhou Spark versus the Philadelphia Fusion, and the Shanghai Dragons versus the Seoul Dynasty. That's going to be a rematch, which is going to be very, very interesting. Maybe do a pick'ems for them. I just have to see. I think when they start, I think they start in 3 days. Looks like so 3 days, 4 days. Okay, so it looks like 3 days it might be. So I'll maybe do a pick'ems maybe on another video. I'll do my predictions there, and I'll see if I get it right. I'll probably not, but we just have to wait to see there. But after the kickoff clash, it will be the Midseason Madness, which is obviously Midseason Madness, and here are all the matches. I'm not going to say all of them, but here's just a little sneak peek of all the matches for the Midseason Madness. There we go. I almost forgot it, but yeah, the Midseason Madness, that'll be coming up starting on June 16th. Even though I think it might be June 15th for you Americans out there. So, that is really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys on next time in the next one. Goodbye.